Hey, what's up guys? My name is Sal and this is another expedition log. This week we're headed to a mall that's brimming with an incredible vintage aesthetic, a wing straight out of the Matrix, and a new lease on life, now living its second incarnation on the weekends masquerading as a super rad flea market. As always, I hope you're all doing awesome. When you're happy, I'm happy. So please try to have a good time all the time. I would also appreciate it if you would take just a moment to subscribe to my channel and click the bell for all notifications so you have a chance that YouTube might notify you that my videos go live. Today I'd like you to come take a walk with me through the Laurel Mall in Connellsville, Pennsylvania, where I'll show you extensive footage that I shot back in December of 2020, then concluding with some new footage that I shot just recently in 2021. But first, a word from our sponsor, the Atari 2600 and Pitfall, with Jack Black as a kid donning the legendary Dead Mall icon, the Pith helmet. Enjoy.
Just last night, I was lost in the jungle with Pitfall Harry, surrounded by giant scorpions and man-eating crocodiles.
Well, Harry and I just grabbed the van, swung through the trees, and over the tar pits and found the jungle treasure. It was really neat.
If you haven't met Pitfall Harry, you're missing the year's most incredible video game adventure. Pitfall for the Atari 2600 and in television.
Since I met Pitfall Harry, no other man will do.
Pitfall, designed by David Crane for Activision.
It's a pith helmet. It'll be the symbol of the happy hiking girl. Walking through the mall, shopping through the mall.
The shopping mall.
You can get out there, get on your own, take your own money that you earn each and every day, and go out and shop and get healthy while you're doing it.
The new Atari cartridge game is in.
Excuse me. Uh-oh. George again. Ooh, Atari's AFC battle. It comes with 27 games, but that's just for starters. You can get 9 cartridges, 187 games. Blackjack. Oh!
I'd like an Atari.
Sorry, only our demonstrators left. Mine! No, George. Mine.
The new video computer system by Atari. More games, more fun.
Mario, where are you?
It's Atari Mario Brothers with Mario.
When the Laurel Mall opened in 1971, it existed for quite some time as the center of the community. It was a traditional mall with a packed concourse during peak hours. Gorgeous lanterns adorned the center court, accompanied by dark wood and stone accents. Events were constantly held for the locals, and kids always had something to keep them entertained at the Laurel Mall. During the holiday season, the mall would be lined with shoppers, and in the off-seasons, couples would find themselves even getting married right here at the mall. Despite shifting anchor tenants through the years, the Laurel Mall would navigate through time, surviving against all odds into the 2020s. But let's go a bit deeper into the historical narrative. On Monday, June 23, 1969, a new $10 million mall, which was billed as a, quote, shopper's paradise, close quote, was announced to be constructed on a 34-acre tract of land along Route 119 north of Uniontown, Pennsylvania. Louis J. Timchak was president of the Latrobe, PA-based Laurel Development Corp., and serving as an associate for the project was famed golfer Arnold Palmer. Then the following year, on March 12, 1970, Montgomery Ward & Co. announced that they would be building a new store at the site of this new mall. 1 week later, on Thursday, March 19th, the scent of burned pine permeated the area as thousands of pine trees were removed to get the site pad ready for construction of the new mall. By Friday, May 15th, this new mall was already 90% leased, and executives with the Laurel Development Corp. Were on the site to inspect the building's progress. Arnold Palmer even flew his private jet into the Connellsville airport right across the street to join the event. During this initial inspection, most of the progress that had been made was just land clearing and drainage installation. The general contractor for the project was Dill Construction Company out of Latrobe, and they were ready to go. But due to a steel haulers strike at the time, there was a delay in building the actual structure. But by June 3rd, the steel structure was finally underway, and the mall was taking shape. On Saturday, October 3rd, Montgomery Ward closed their downtown Uniontown location to focus operations on what would be their largest store in the eastern region, from Maine down to Florida. Then just a few days later, after 7 months of construction, Ward's opened a brand new 100,000 square foot location on Wednesday, October 7th, as construction continued on the enclosed mall for which the Wards would serve as one of the senior anchors. Early in the following year, in what the owners called a prelude to the pre-grand opening and official grand opening, on Thursday, February 24th, 1971, the Laurel Mall saw the opening of 25 stores. Accompanying the already opened Montgomery Ward was new senior anchor G.C. Murphy-based Murphy's Mart, an outparcel Acme supermarket adjacent to the Murphy's Mart, and JCPenney-owned Thrift Drugs as junior anchors, along with a handful of inline tenants. Among the 25 other tenants, an intimate mini theater with seating for 350 patrons was set to open at the Laurel Mall Prelude opening, and a ribbon cutting even went down. But the Laurel Mall Cinema, run by Manos Theaters, wasn't able to get their projection screen and reflectors installed in time due to shipping delays. The parts arrived a couple of days later and were installed in time for an evening premiere showing of There's a Girl in My Soup, starring Peter Sellers and Goldie Hawn. A Metzler's department store would open as the third junior anchor directly in the center court at the Laurel Mall on Wednesday, March 17th, just weeks after the cinema had begun operations. The Metzler's, while smaller in scale to the Murphy's Mart and Ward's, was gorgeous. Upon first entering, shoppers' eyes were immediately drawn to the massive chandeliers suspended through the center of the store. Thick, colorful carpeting lined the floors, and the panoramic view was accentuated by colorful lighting and accessories carefully curated by the designers. Just as a quick aside, while I was here, I did speak with a couple of the locals who seemed to remember fountains on either side of the Metzler's entrance. I did find through my research that fountains were installed here, but I'm not exactly sure. So if you were here back in the day, let me know down in the comments where they were. As promised, the Laurel Mall had its pre-grand opening celebrations between May 19th and 24th, just 2 months after the Metzler's dedication. Events included naming of Fayette County Schools' top athlete of the year, marking the Armed Forces Week by displaying an actual jet in the parking lot that kids and adults could climb into, and a car license photo contest, good for $50 in gift certificates to the mall if they drew the photo of your license plate, which they were randomly snapping pictures of for anyone that parked at the mall. Along with this pre-grand opening came an announcement that the actual grand opening would be happening the following month, featuring Laurel Mall co-owner and golfer Arnold Palmer as the special guest. I couldn't find any mention of this event actually taking place, but I'd love to be proven wrong down in the comments. So let me know if you were there. The Laurel Mall was fully open by June 1st, 1971, and business was in full swing, even with its competition just up the street with Crown American's brand new Uniontown Mall, setting the stage for harsh competition. The 1980s brought the peak of success for most malls in the United States, present company excluded. The Laurel Mall may have entered the 1980s bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, and full of purpose, even adding 3 extra screens to its cinema in 1984, opening the new Laurel Mall Cinemas 4. But it would face a steep downfall. It lost the Acme Super Saver just before 1980, and then in 1985, the entire G.C. Murphy chain was bought out by Ames. Shortly after that sale, the Laurel Mall location was converted and rebranded with the Ames masthead. While losing an original anchor by means of a company acquisition doesn't reflect on the mall itself, trouble for the Laurel Mall was brewing right up the street. Into July of 1983, the Uniontown Mall had already undergone a humble $5.1 million renovation, adding a Hess's department store to their roster. But by March 7th, 1989, Uniontown was well into a much more impressive redevelopment, which would radically change its appearance and retail stance. The $20 million reimagining of Uniontown Mall was completed by December 16, 1990, expanding the square footage of the brand new turquoise Admiral to over 700,000 square feet. Uniontown was now a pretty big threat to Laurel Mall, and the damage would begin surfacing pretty quick. Also, make sure to check out ExLog 90, which covers the Uniontown Mall. By January 17th of 1991, reported in a column in the Latrobe Bulletin, the Laurel Mall was still anchored by Montgomery Ward, Ames, Metzler's department store, and the theater. Leasing operations were also given over to Pittsburgh-based Gold & Company. The Metzlers would be shuttered by 1994, and the mall would also change hands later that year. Massachusetts-based New Plan Realty Trust assumed ownership of the Laurel Mall with a $6.2 million mortgage. Just a couple of years into their ownership, in 1996, another junior anchor would change hands when the Eckerd pharmacy chain merged with J.C. Penney, who owned Thrift Drug, which was converted into an Eckerd at the Laurel Mall. By 1998, New Plan Realty had merged with Excel Realty Trust in a deal valued at $2.9 billion, making New Plan Excel Realty Trust the largest open-air shopping center REIT in the United States at the time. The two entities had also wildly varying methods in management, and they would clash immediately on several operational points for then co-owned properties, resulting in many of their C-class malls falling into obscurity and disrepair. Moving into the new millennium, Laurel Mall would suffer two devastating blows back-to-back. Montgomery Ward was limping out of its absolute worst holiday season on record in 2000, and went straight into Chapter 7 liquidation, only having survived Chapter 11 the previous year. They laid off almost 40,000 employees, and by May of 2001, all of the 250 stores that were remaining were liquidated and they were closed, which of course included the Laurel Mall location in Connellsville. But at the same time, Ames was also in the midst of Chapter 11 bankruptcy. One of the biggest causes for Ames' downfall was their willingness to offer a line of credit through Visa to anyone that applied, without checking their credit scores. Countless high-risk borrowers defaulted through the 90s, ultimately crippling Ames into the 2000s with all of their stores shuttering by the end of 2002. Despite a Shop and Save grocery store opening in the former Ward's space in 2002, the mass closures left the Laurel Mall with virtually no retail draw, forcing most inline tenants to vacate. Just so I can keep your compasses calibrated, right now we're walking directly towards what used to be the Montgomery Ward. The Murphy's Mart is behind us, and the Metzler's was directly in the center court. That's where the flea market is now. But we're also walking towards the old movie theater, which is now the Matrix Wing. And aside from the vintage aesthetics of this place, I think this Matrix Wing is probably the coolest part of the mall. I would spend all day just hanging out under these mercury vapor bulbs. The Shop and Save left the mall just 3 years after opening, but it was quickly replaced by the local Peachin's Shopping Village, opening in July of 2005. Peachin's had been around for nearly 50 years in the community, and the newly renovated former Montgomery Ward space now included a beer and beverage distributor, a bakery, and the Peachin Deli. This new addition provided a huge ray of hope for the Laurel Mall, and it couldn't have come at a better time. New Plan Excel Realty Trust was then acquired by Australia's Centro Properties Group in a deal valued at $6.2 billion, which included assumed debt, cash, and preferred stock. The deal closed in the second quarter of 2007, and Centro immediately started unloading underperforming properties, most notably the Connellsville, PA Laurel Mall. By 2008, the assessed value of the mall and its land came in at $2.5 million, but nobody wanted to buy it. So it went to auction, where it fetched an underwhelming $500,000 in August later that year. The buyers were Florida-based Gator Laurel Partners LLP, and they immediately announced plans to open an indoor flea market and said, quote, "The building will never be a mall again," close quote. Now, at this point in the lineage of most dead malls, a new owner comes in after the recession, buys the property for pretty cheap, and either lets it rot or demolishes it to redevelop the property. This is where the story of dead malls goes one of two ways. It's remodeled with all of the vintage elements removed to modernize the property, which really never works out, or it's demalled. Sometimes fully demalled, or sometimes just portions are opened to the outside elements. Gator chose to take the Laurel Mall in an entirely different direction and opened their Laurel Mall flea market inside the former Metzler's with upwards of 50 stalls for vendors to sell their wares, effectively ditching the standard practice for malls to court big box retailers as the main source of traffic. Gator did state publicly, though, that if the flea market concept failed, they would tear down and build new. But at its inception, the flea market idea was a hit, and the Laurel Mall was defying all of the odds, putting the traditional mall in retirement and ushering in its second life as a pretty awesome trading space for local vendors. The Laurel Mall made its way into the 2010s and had survived events that would have taken out any other mall and put it right into the ground, losing all of its anchors in the midst of a recession, being written off by a greedy new foreign owner, all while the mall right up the street was absolutely thriving. This all should have decimated a gray ghost, such as the Laurel Mall. But the local community protected this place, and the management was level-headed enough to provide the area with a smart new purpose for their aging mall, all while retaining the amazing vintage aesthetic language from 1970. Consider me impressed. The mall had its grand reopening under the new owners on March 23, 2013, and by mid-August of 2014, the long-vacant Ames parcel had been occupied by Illinois-based farm and home products retailer Rural King, which was an absolutely perfect choice for the area, and the new management was nailing it. In 2015, the Laurel Mall Cinemas 4 shuttered, but the closing seemed to have no adverse effects on the mall, which was still chugging along, picking up steam and more inline local businesses to accompany the flea market. The thrift drugs turned Eckerd space was renovated to a Dollar Tree, which opened in 2017. The small portion of mall concourse that remained linking the interior to the former Ames turned Rural King was demolished and bricked over, forcing shoppers to enter through the exterior only. Now, if you've been following my series for the last several months, by this point in the episode, we'd be getting to my overly dramatic alliteration to 2020 and how recent events ravaged the mall beyond repair. But the Laurel Mall, which has recently been renamed to Laurel Plaza, seems bulletproof. Despite everything that happened between 2020 and 2021, this mall is stronger than ever, and I need to once again commend the management for keeping this place open.
What the hell is that?
Even after losing the Peachins in 2020, the flea market concept is prevailing, and the locals absolutely dig this mall. So with that, I'd like to just explore the exterior for a bit, before we get to some current footage that I shot recently. This place is nuts. And I guess that's the Rural King section over there. Yeah, that's all the Rural King. If I can get over there. Gnarly old lights. Here, have some light. It's probably been off for years. Nice. Man, this thing is old. And there's like a restaurant. I don't know if it was attached, like opened with that. Nice. Oh, that's so cool. It's like a pagoda roof. This is nice. I wonder why it closed. Firehouse Banquets? What is that? banquets. Your guess is as good as mine on this one, guys. But I think what we can agree on is that she is most definitely closed. I'll interject here. Of course, it wasn't a firehouse. It was the Peachin' Firehouse Restaurant. Gnarly. Which opened with the market and has obviously recently closed. Was this a firehouse? No, Sal, it wasn't. Those doors are way too small for fire trucks. Correct. Way too small. Yep. Big old gnarly empty parking lot. Wonderful observation. No trespassing in what? In that? Yes. Okay. Oh, sick. Merchandise pickup. All right, so what was this? It was the wards. Wonder what that was. It was the Montgomery ward. Kind of see something ards.com. What was this? Ards. Wards? Was this wards? Wards, yes. Was this Montgomery wards? Yes. See it? Wards. No kidding. I'll break my neck if I get up there, but just trust me, it says wards. I think this was a wards. I'm going with wards. Fantastic deduction skills. Yeah, this is totally a wards. And that's why I always do perimeter walks, and I don't always show you guys everything. But this is part of the homework. Checking for label scars. We're all so proud of you. Any remnants of what it used to be. This is all part of it, and it is getting dark. Man, it's getting dark. Maybe you should just get back inside the mall. What's inside? Let's see if I can see anything. Oh, that's the mall over there. You don't say. So that's where the mall concourse ends. That big white tarp. So I guess this was the wards. Right. No, you're such a genius. Remind me to call Mensa. Oh, God. Always. I always find it. I'm always finding the spider webs. It's a gnarly one, too. I think I said the word gnarly like 8 times so far in this episode. Nobody cares about your spider hang-ups. Crack on. Here is the cinema. I think it was 4-screen cinema. Pretty sure. You know that answer already. Yeah. 4-screen cinema. I wonder what gave it away. There's a spotlight it hasn't seen in ages. Premiering tonight, Cujo. Cujo? So we already saw it down this hallway. This one that leads to the green hallway. Is that because it looks green? Are you sure? Check out these locks they have on here. That's hardcore. Probably because the locks on the door don't work. Good. Keep the vandals out. I like seeing that. If any of you mall cops out there are looking, do this. Do this. That will keep people out. Okay, dude, enough. It's leaking. We all get it. Sick. You're sick. Go back inside the mall. Oh, come on. Are you seriously going to explore this back alley section? There's nothing to see back here, dude. Come on. Oof. Yeah, it's an old mall. Of course it's gonna look like this. Nice. Nice? What? We were in there. That's the concourse. That's not the concourse. That's an exit to one of the stores. God, you're so stupid out on expedition. I mean, that's a pretty cool shot. So there's the old Metzlers. Are you going to go back in? I hope so. Oh, thank God. Candy bars for sale and a cigarette machine. Awesome. Awesome.
Listen up, you people inside the Laurel Mall currently at this precise moment right now. My name is Beef, and I want to extend my condolences that your time in this beautiful establishment must now come to an end. Please come back soon to buy some NES games from my uncle or treasures or whatever he's selling that day, because we love you so much, buddy. And your pleasure is our pleasure. I wish that you got to see the Matrix wing during your stay because it's off the charts. Hugs and kisses, bubblers. Toodle-doo. Bye.
You work here? Yeah. I have a question for you. So I just met the, I guess he's the maintenance guy for this place. And I was curious if there was anything back that way. Because if you go down the mall, if you go down that way, there is more, I thought there was more concourse that way. But if you go down the mall that way, you can see that goes towards the movie theater and towards the old wards. But on the other side, it's drywalled off. So I asked him if there was any other mall stuff that way, if there was any other shops, and he said no, it connects directly to a Dollar General or a Dollar something. Let's take a look. I don't know. But I was just making sure that I wasn't missing out on anything. And according to him, I'm not missing out on anything. Dollar Tree. It's a Dollar Tree. So here's, you can see it. Go ahead, come on. Come on. Go. I'll show you. You can see that the mall ends where the dude says it ends. So, mall here, it goes to about there, and there's probably just a hallway that connects right to the Dollar Tree and then to the Royal King. So we did see everything that we possibly could have seen in there, and it seems like this is a place that people really like to come to, and it's only open mostly on Sunday. So I was lucky to get here. It's a really cool place if you want to visit, to see some really vintage stuff. But again, I really recommend coming out here. You know, just walk around and see it. It's a very cool place, and you won't be sorry. Here's one last look at the length of it. Oh my God.
Turn right, then turn left on Laurel Drive.
Oh my God. I just made it. I seriously just made it.
Turn left on Laurel Drive.
All right, so I'm here at the Laurel Mall, and it's late June in 2021. And what you just saw, that was around Christmas time. But I wanted to come back, not to see the inside, because I know that's probably exactly the same. But I wanted to get some drone footage, which is why I'm here. You may or may not have already seen that drone footage. I might be about to show it now, I'm not sure. But I just wanted to tell you that I don't expect anything to be different about this place now. So there's really no reason to take another tour through it, especially because it's pretty tiny. So as you just saw it, that's more or less how it should still be. So if you already saw the drone footage, awesome. If you haven't seen any drone footage yet, here you go. I really can't recommend this mall enough. The entire area is just so beautiful around it, and the mall is such a cool vintage gem with an awesome flea market. As a kid, I grew up digging around garage sales in New Jersey, looking for Nintendo games and whatever other treasures I could find. And as an adult, I like to collect these things now, and I find myself still looking for them, so this is the perfect place for somebody like me. This mall has exactly the environment that I would love to do that in every weekend if I lived nearby. And if you do live near this mall, or even find yourself within a reasonable driving distance from here, you absolutely must make the trip. Last I checked, so you know, their hours are 9 to 5 on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. They're closed every other day of the week. So make sure to follow them on Facebook at the Laurel Mall if you're on there, and check out their Facebook page for more information. I've had nothing but cordial interactions with their social media team, and they really do all seem like great people. So do your best to please support this mall in any way you can. Even if it is just sharing out this video so that people know that this place exists, because a lot of the people in the area might just think it's closed and they don't know that it's got this super rad flea market inside. So help me out, help them out, share the video, post on social media about this place. Let's get this place on the map. I hope all of you out there are enjoying this new drone footage because I'm having a blast shooting it. And I hope that you all enjoyed watching my film. As I've stated countless times through this episode, this mall absolutely rocks. From the preserved vintage aesthetics, to the gnarly Matrix wing, to the awesome little shops and the grand flea market, it's one of the coolest places I've had the privilege to cover. I want to especially shout out to my patrons and elite explorers that contribute to my channel directly, because you made the revisit to this mall possible. That direct support enables me to take spontaneous trips when they come up, so thanks. I appreciate it. If you're still watching this video and you haven't yet subscribed, you may as well just do it now. Go ahead and take a minute, subscribe, and ring the bell. Click all for all notifications, because that's the only shot we have getting you notified, because YouTube. Make sure to also follow me on social media, where I post updates and content between episodes. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Salvatore Amadeo, and on Facebook at Quite Studios if that's your kind of thing. But if you want to get to me directly, just download the Discord app, make a screen name, and click the invite link in my video descriptions. It's free forever, just like all of my content. And you'll just need to answer 2 quick questions with a moderator when you join DMod. Really make sure you do that last part, because 99% of the DMod server is hidden until you do. I'll be back soon with ExLog 92, where we visit the now shuttered, defunct, and legendary Chapel Hill Mall. But until then, stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves, and have a fantastic day.
Just last night, I was lost in the jungle with Pitfall Harry.
Walking through the mall, shopping through the mall.
The shopping mall.
You can get out there, get on your own, take your own money that you earn each and every day, and go out and shop and get healthy while you're doing it.
Throwing up the plumbing, Puerto Luigi's in a bind. Giant turtles out to get him, creepy crabs are right behind. Fighter flies, cheaper shikes, they're all coming out the pipes. Mario, where are you?
It's Atari Mario Brothers with Mario.